15 Shocking Facts and Taboos in Eswatini. Number 15. Eswatini pays men to marry a second wife. Imagine a country where men are paid by the government to marry an extra wife. And if they have only one, they could end up in jail. Sounds like a joke, right? But in 2019, dozens of African newspapers spread a shocking story claiming that the Kingdom of Eswatini, a tiny nation in southern Africa, was about to pass a new law requiring all men to marry at least 2 wives, and anyone who refused to expand their family would face prison time. The government was even said to offer wedding funds, housing, and dowries to those who followed the example of King Mswati III. If the story were true, Eswatini would have become a paradise for African men, where polygamy was not only legal but encouraged. Unfortunately, the tale was too perfect to be real. Just days after it went viral, the Eswatini government officially denied the rumor, calling it an insult to the royal family and a distortion of national culture. No such law ever existed. Still, millions believed it, sharing and joking online, saying things like, "If this is true, I'm applying for citizenship right now." So what about you? If that law really existed, would you take a second wife or choose jail instead? Tell us in the comments below. Number 14. Ban on sexy pants for women. In a hot country like Eswatini, you'd think wearing shorts would be normal. But no, here, even tight pants or a short skirt can make you a criminal. Women are forbidden to wear shorts, miniskirts, or anything considered provocative in public because it's labeled untraditional. Police have the right to arrest and fine violators on the spot, no warning required. The law was introduced under the pretext of preserving national identity, but in reality, it turned clothing into a battlefield between body and control. Young women, students, or office workers can be punished just for forgetting to change out of gym shorts after a workout. In downtown Mbabane, police once forced a woman to kneel in the street because her skirt didn't cover her knees. In the 21st century, when over 90 countries have passed laws protecting the right to dress freely, Eswatini still treats shorts as a symbol of rebellion. Number 13. The world's largest virgin festival, where men choose wives. As we mentioned earlier, in Eswatini, a country where women can be arrested for wearing short pants, there's an annual festival where tens of thousands of young girls are allowed to appear topless. It's called the Umhlanga, or Reed Dance, the world's largest virgin festival. Sounds unbelievable, but it's real. Every August, waves of people flood the grounds of the Ludzizini Royal Palace. Young women wearing leopard skin skirts carry long reeds and dance rhythmically to drum beats for 8 days to honor the Queen Mother. But everyone knows it's also the moment when King Mswati III, who already has 14 wives and more than 25 children, watches and may choose a new queen. In a country where 63% of people live below the poverty line, being chosen means a ticket to a life of luxury. However, not every girl comes hoping to become a royal wife. Some intentionally break the dress code, arrive late, or commit small violations to be disqualified early. They leave smiling because their goal isn't the throne, but perhaps a more interesting man, often a foreign visitor. "If we wanted Eswatini men, we wouldn't need to come this far," one girl said. "We're here to find something different, maybe a ticket out to the world." So what do you think about these girls and this festival? Would you dare to join it yourself? Share your thoughts below. Number 12. We Are Loved Clinic. On Valentine's Day of 2024, in the middle of the noisy industrial city of Matsafa, a place with a surprisingly gentle name was born. Sitsanziu Clinic, which means we are loved in the Siswati language. The name itself isn't just a greeting. It's a statement that everyone, no matter how poor or hopeless, deserves care and healing. This clinic provides all medical services completely free of charge. from general health checkups and psychological counseling to chronic disease treatment. What's special is that most of its patients don't come because their bodies are weak, but because their minds are broken. They are people battling depression, loneliness, or the feeling of being abandoned. Each room is designed so patients can speak freely, without fear of judgment. Run by 28 local staff and 3 international specialists, Censorship stands as a medical oasis in a public health system struggling with a shortage of equipment, hospital beds, and even stable electricity. Here, everything is modern, clean, peaceful, and most importantly, people are truly listened to. It's also the first clinic in Eswatini to introduce an online appointment system, reducing the long waiting times that can stretch for hours in public hospitals. Though it's just a small building, this place is creating a wave of hope for thousands who have long grown used to neglect from the healthcare system. Number 11. Swaziland bans witches from flying too high. It sounds straight out of Harry Potter, but this rule was once officially confirmed by the Swaziland Civil Aviation Authority. According to the regulation, any witch flying on a broomstick must not exceed an altitude of 150 meters, and those who violate it could face heavy fines, just like pilots of civilian aircraft. Sabelo Dlamini, the agency's marketing director, told reporters, "A flying broom is also an aircraft, and we must ensure the safety of our airspace." No one knows whether he was joking or serious, but the fact is, many Swazis truly believe in witchcraft. Magic, spells, and love potions remain part of everyday life here. So a low-flying witch law sounds bizarrely logical. The same regulation even bans kites and toy helicopters from flying above the height limit. In one real case, a private detective was arrested because his remote-controlled mini-helicopter accidentally flew too high, without official registration. Number 10. Widows in Eswatini must shave their heads. In Eswatini, when a woman loses her husband, she doesn't just lose her life partner. She must also shave her head completely bald as a sign of loyalty and mourning. It's more than just a gesture of grief. It's a social declaration. I was his wife, and I still belong to him, even after death. In many Eswatini villages, widows must keep their heads shaved for at least 30 to 90 days, sometimes up to half a year, depending on their clan or family status. During that time, they're forbidden from wearing bright colors, putting on makeup, attending festivals, or sitting with others in community meetings. Some villages even forbid them from touching men, as people believe the mourning spirit could bring bad luck. This tradition dates back hundreds of years, when hair was believed to be the dwelling place of the soul. Shaving it off meant releasing the spirit of the dead, so they could rest in peace. It may sound unusual, but similar customs still exist elsewhere in the world. In ancient India, widows were once forced to shave their heads to show fidelity. In Nigeria and Ghana, widows wear black and sleep on the floor for 40 nights to share the sorrow of their husband's soul. Number 9. Eswatini has the highest HIV rate in the world. You might not know this, but Eswatini has surpassed Botswana to become the country with the highest HIV infection rate on Earth. Even though treatment programs have expanded dramatically over the past decade, Eswatini still holds a grim record. 96% of adults are living with HIV, meaning 1 in every 4 people carries the virus. The most heartbreaking part is how much harder women are hit. Nearly 35% of Eswatini's women are infected, compared to about 19% of men. Many young girls marry early or simply don't have the power to say no in relationships. In some rural areas, people still believe the dangerous myth that sleeping with a virgin can cure HIV, a belief that has turned thousands of children into victims. But not everything is hopeless. With the support of international organizations, Eswatini has reached the WHO's 95-95-95 target. 95% of people living with HIV know their status, 95% of them receive treatment, and 95% maintain undetectable viral loads. Still, the social scars remain, where disease, poverty, and inequality intertwine in a painful cycle that's hard to break. Number 8. The annual Bushfire Festival. With a name like the Bushfire Festival, you might imagine flames, smoke, and environmental destruction. But surprisingly, this is one of the greenest and most sustainable festivals in Africa. Every May in the town of Malkerns, hills light up not just with fire, but with music, art, theater, poetry, and a powerful sense of unity. Unlike the lavish royal banquets, Bushfire carries a deeply human message. Bring your fire. Bring your passion to help light up the world. For 3 days, more than 20,000 people from across Africa and around the world join the rhythm of drums, reggae, jazz, and rock, turning this small valley into the beating heart of Eswatini. Despite its fiery name, the festival causes no harm to the environment. Every activity is centered on sustainability. No single-use plastics. All food served in recyclable materials, and the main stage is powered by solar panels. The fire symbolizes passion and creativity, not actual forest burning. All profits go directly to education and healthcare programs for poor children. From ticket sales to food stands, every dollar becomes a flame of hope for thousands of Eswatini students. It's no wonder CNN named Bushfire one of the 7 must-experience music festivals in the world. Number 7. A country with 2 capitals. It sounds strange, but it's true. Eswatini is one of the few countries in the world with 2 official capitals. Despite being smaller than the U.S. state of Connecticut, covering just about 17 square kilometers, 16,500 square miles, the nation splits its power between 2 cities only 15 miles apart. The first capital, Mbabane, is the administrative center, the seat of government, banks, and foreign embassies. Nestled in the cool, green Dlangeni Hills, it serves as the brain of the nation. If you're applying for a visa, opening a company, or meeting a minister, this is where you go. The second capital, Lobamba, is the spiritual and ceremonial heart of Eswatini. It's home to the royal family and hosts the country's major traditional festivals such as Umhlanga, the reed dance, and Nkwala. In other words, Mbabane is where Swazis think, while Lobamba is where they feel. The coexistence of these 2 capitals perfectly reflects Eswatini's dual identity, a country balancing modern governance with deep ancestral traditions. While most nations operate from a single seat of power, Eswatini divides its rule between the state and the crown. Number 6. Ngwenya Glass Factory, a model of sustainability. Amid the lush green mountains of Eswatini lies a place that makes travelers stop, not just for its beauty, but for how it brings new life to what others throw away. This is the Ngwenya Glass Factory, the country's first and only facility that uses 100% recycled glass. Every year, tons of bottles, jars, and shattered glass are collected across Eswatini, not by machines, but by local people in need of work. They carefully pick up each piece, even knowing one small mistake could cut their hands. In return, they earn income and a sense of pride that they're helping save the planet. The glass is then crushed, melted at nearly 2,400 akwimors, about 1,300 wobors, and blown by hand into hundreds of unique creations, cups, vases, lamps, and finely detailed glass sculptures of African animals. Incredibly, no 2 items are ever the same, because everything is made by hand, without molds or automation. Ngwenya doesn't just sell to tourists, it also exports to Europe, the United States, and Japan, becoming Eswatini's symbol of sustainable craftsmanship. The factory even partners with local schools, rewarding students who collect the most glass waste with sponsorships for their school soccer teams. Number 5. Absolute media censorship. In the Kingdom of Eswatini, freedom of the press simply doesn't exist, at least not in the way the rest of the world understands it. Here, every newspaper, radio station, and TV channel is owned or directly controlled by the royal family. There's no space for independent journalism, no investigative reporting, and absolutely no article that criticizes King Mswati III. Local reporters know this invisible line all too well. They practice self-censorship in every sentence, because even one story mentioning corruption, protests, or social inequality could cost them their passports, lead to interrogation, or make them disappear for a few days, only to reappear in silence. One of the most infamous incidents occurred when a BBC reporter was expelled the same day for asking a simple question: does the king pay taxes? A question that would be normal in any democracy. But in Eswatini, it was considered an insult to the monarchy. Local newspapers are required to feature the king's photo on the front page whenever he speaks, and any article about the royal family must use reverent, respectful language. Journalists who try to report objectively are branded as traitors or Western spies. Number 4. The most lavish king in Africa, ruling over poverty. In the heart of Africa, within a small country where more than 70% of citizens live on less than $2 a day, lives one of the most extravagant monarchs in the world, King Mswati III. After more than 35 years on the throne, he's known as Africa's most luxurious king. While his people struggle with poverty, he resides in palaces covered in gold, drives fleets of supercars, and hosts banquets that few on the continent can even imagine. In 2009, Forbes ranked Mswati among the world's richest heads of state. He owns 13 palaces, 20 Rolls-Royces, 2 private jets, and even a personal troupe of dancers who accompany him everywhere he goes. His official state salary reaches $50 million a year, not counting his private fortune, estimated at over $100 million. Meanwhile, Eswatini's hospitals run out of medicine, teachers go on strike due to unpaid wages, and villagers walk miles just to fetch clean water. The contrast has sparked outrage. Protests erupted across the country with people chanting, "We don't need a king, we need food." Some even describe Eswatini as a Dubai-style monarchy built on a Haitian economy. Human rights activists say Mswati III is living like a pharaoh in a starving nation. The international community has also spoken out. The United Nations and African Union have criticized Eswatini for its lack of democracy and for wasting public funds on royal luxuries. While neighboring countries like South Africa and Botswana have embraced democratic reforms, Eswatini remains the last absolute monarchy in Africa. Number 3. The country with the highest wildlife conservation rate in Africa. Though it's only a quarter the size of Ireland, Eswatini stands as one of Africa's strongest fortresses of wildlife protection. Within its small territory, less than 6,500 square miles, 17,000 km², the country has over 20 nature reserves and national parks, home to elephants, rhinos, lions, antelopes, and leopards that roam freely in near-perfectly protected habitats. What makes Eswatini truly stand out is its zero-tolerance policy toward poaching. Rangers and police are authorized to shoot on sight if they detect illegal intruders inside protected zones. It's one of the few countries in Africa that enforces a controversial but effective shoot-to-kill rule against wildlife crime. Thanks to this firm approach, rhino poaching in Eswatini has remained near zero for years, while neighboring nations like South Africa and Mozambique continue to suffer hundreds of cases annually. At Helene Royal National Park, elephants and white rhinos are tracked using GPS devices, while all entry points are guarded with infrared cameras and drone patrols. Despite limited funding, local communities play a major role. Villages surrounding the parks are hired as forest guardians, paid directly by the Royal Wildlife Conservation Fund. Number 2. A country that changed its name just because people kept mispronouncing it. Did you know there's a country that officially changed its name simply because the world kept saying it wrong? It sounds like a joke, but it really happened in Africa. In 2018, King Mswati III announced that his country would no longer be called Swaziland, but instead the Kingdom of Eswatini. The declaration was made in a packed stadium during a special double celebration, the 50th anniversary of independence from Britain and the King's 50th birthday. In front of tens of thousands of citizens, he proclaimed, "It is time to return to our true name, Eswatini, meaning the land of the Swazi people." It sounded symbolic and patriotic, but the real reason was surprisingly ordinary. The king admitted he was tired of foreigners confusing Swaziland with Switzerland. International letters, shipments, and even official contracts had been repeatedly sent to the Switzerland of Africa. However, the sudden name change came with a heavy price tag. Millions of dollars were spent replacing every government sign, seal, passport, and diplomatic document. A new name became a major burden for a country where more than 60% of citizens still live below the poverty line. Linguistically, Eswatini means land of the Swazis in the local language, a statement of national identity similar to Turkey's decision to rename itself Turkiye. Still, many observers believe it was also a display of the king's personal power, consistent with his habit of attaching his name to nearly every major national event. Number 1. All political parties are banned. While most of the world has moved toward democracy, Eswatini remains frozen in time, a throwback to the last century. It is the final absolute monarchy in Africa, where all power, political, legal, and religious, rests in the hands of one man, King Mswati III. Since 1973, all political parties have been banned, no exceptions. There is no opposition, no election campaigns, and voting is purely symbolic. The courts, parliament, police, and military all answer directly to the royal family. Every law, every tax, even the 2018 renaming of the country from Swaziland to Eswatini, was decided solely by the king, without consulting anyone. Citizens are not allowed to hold rallies, form parties, or express differing political opinions. Anyone who dares to speak out can be arrested for causing social unrest, or worse, disappear without a trace. Human rights activists call Eswatini the Kingdom of Silence, where fear has replaced public debate. And with that, we've reached the end of our journey through 15 shocking taboos and strange facts about Eswatini. Which one surprised you the most? Or do you have your own stories about Eswatini to share? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, tell us which country you'd like us to cover next. Who knows? Your idea might become our next travel documentary. See you next time.